I'll just give you an example. So if you make $10 as a home health aide, you're making $30 to $40 as a nurse now. And she ended up dying, I want to say the next day. She ended up dying the next day. I really do think that molded the men in time to be tough, get things done and fix things. Now they're like, well, I just want to sit on my computer.
This isn't my money that I'm making full time. This is our money because, like, we're a team. We're operating this machine, and I'm doing this portion, but you're doing all these other portions. Mm-hmm. So if someone ghosts me, I have the right to call them mentally weak. We just shine a light where they hide the gray. It's the Kalaj Dame Podcast. I don't have like no intro or nothing like that. Literally just
none.
Jump into the conversation. All right, so play cousin. Try to jog my memory here, but
I remember things, clubs.
Yes.
Be at clubs, promotion.
Yeah.
You promoting music.
Yeah, it was
hanging out with my friends.
Music. Your friends were not sure what number of who, but I think it was a couple of your friends were working with me when I was promoting a club night here in the city in the Strip, and you tagged along. And
always that supportive person.
No, it was dope. This was like, 2010? I think it was.
I think it was sooner than that.
Like more recent or earlier?
No, this was a long time ago. This was, I don't know, probably like 2000.
It had to be 2010.
Really? Yeah. It might have been.
Because I was promoting Club Heat. Yeah, it was April 2010.
Oh, wow.
Because I remember we did...
feels like it was earlier than that.
We did Easter Sunday club event there.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been, 15 years now?
Mm-hmm.
We getting old on it.
I know.
Okay, so I brought you on a podcast because, to me, you're like one of the most professional women I know. Like,
Thank you.
You're welcome. From my understanding, at least, from your career, we went from young adults, and then next thing you know, I'm looking, and you're like a nurse, and first you was killing it in school.
Yeah.
Got to hear everything. And then, nurse and married, and I went to your crib one time, joint was like laid out, big vacation home looking. I'm like,
Airbnb home, maybe one day.
I need to switch careers or something. But yeah, I guess we could start with early life, I guess, up until school for nursing. What was it like in terms of, say, like finances, in terms of life, just like in general? Like, there's so many questions that I want to dive into, but just give me what you got first.
All right, I'll give you what I got. So, I started out as a home health aide. Okay. I was working in the homes and taking care of the elderly patients.
So that's like the people that's like changing bedpans and stuff like that?
Okay. Changing people, helping them shower. So I did that while I was in nursing school.
Is there something that you wanted to get, or a reason you wanted to get into like the health or medical field?
So originally I wanted to go to school to be a psychologist. And then I found out there's really no money in that anyway. But nursing just gives an avenue of so many different careers, because you can do so many different, you can be an informatics nurse, you can be the home health, nurse, you can be so many different nurses, nurse leader, mental health nurse, which I am. So that was the next best thing for me, to get to people on that level, to reach people mentally that are struggling. So that's where like my passion came from, was really just helping people get through things.
So started as home health aide, and was there something that like triggered it, that kicked in, that was like, nah, I need to
I gotta make this money.
Get the money. That was the switch right there.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it really was. I'm like, how can I, build some money for my kids, my family, and nursing was what I thought of.
Is it a big jump? So, like, speaking to, like, the home health aides, at home or whatever in the audience, for the people that don't know, like, financially, just say financial range of what they could make potential. Is it a large jump from home health aide to
a nurse? So I'll just give you an example. So if you make $10 as a home health aide, you're making $30 to $40 as a nurse now.
So that's like where they have the
an
jobs,
hour per
like
hour.
If they call you, hey, we have this person that needs so-and-so, do you want this contract? It pays $10 an hour, like a nurse would get.
Well, if you're a part of an agency as an employee, or if you're contracted, it's two different things. If you're contracted through an agency, or if you're hired on as an employee with that agency. So they give you assignments of people, and you can take it or you can leave it. You're like, that's too far for me to drive, or, whatever your reasons might be, so you can take that assignment.
So, like, for that same job, though, like, the pay equivalency, I guess, would be like $10 for a home health aide versus
just say
30.
10. We'll say 10 to 30. Because, like, when I became a nurse, I think it was like $22.50 an hour. So I've been a nurse for 11 years. Wow. Yeah, it's been a while.
And for the people that don't know the math, I think 30 is right around, what, 70,000 a year? 72,
just something like that.
Which is huge, because $10 an hour is...
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's 20,000 a year.
Yeah.
Wow,
it's a huge job.
That's dope.
And it's not even just about the money, because I'm not really a money person. Yeah, I want to be secure, but the service to people, because of my faith in God, I want to serve people.
Right.
And that's just been my all around. How can I serve people?
Makes sense. That's always a good reason to do it. I always tell people, especially my kids, the whole concept, do something you love and you'll never work at the end of your life. Yeah, that's difficult concept to get through to some people sometimes, but
I think people have to find their gift, what their gifts are.
Right.
Like, I found out my gifts pretty early on. So I knew already, like, okay, I want to help people. I have this passion for people.
Right.
And to find out your gifts, you got to pray about it. You got to look at what you're good at and really dive into how can I grow. And that's about success right there. Is how can I grow?
Makes sense. Okay. So you switched from home health aide to go to nursing school. What was nursing school like? Like,
it was hell.
I mean, was there ever
it was a lot of work.
Was there ever a point when you were in nursing school where you like, damn, I'm ready to quit? Like, I shouldn't have done this.
I'll give you the background of it too, because I went to CCAC South Campus. Ooh. And not a lot of people got in there. You had to have certain qualifications, certain GPA. And the reason I chose it is because they had such a high rate of the nurses passing the NCLEX. The NCLEX is a test you take to become a nurse, how to become, licensed with the state. But that first year, I actually withdrew because I just had my daughter. I was 3 weeks postpartum trying to go to school, which was crazy. Like, my body was still like trying to heal, but I ended up withdrawing. And that was the best thing I could have done at that time, because I would have probably failed. And then I ended up going back. But it was a process. It was definitely hard. It was definitely hard. You had to really like study and focus in. It took time.
How long did it take?
Well, I got my associate's degree, so it took the 2 years.
Okay.
To get my associate's degree.
So you got your associate's in 2 years. And this is why you were still working full-time and a mom.
Full-time and a mom. 2 kids. Whoa. And you know my kids. Especially my son. He was he was something.
Man. Look,
the aggression, the calls from school, and just the struggle, to struggle with him.
And still did it in 2 years. So, like, for me in engineering, it took me, I want to say, just for the first 2 years, took me like 5 years. Just like, I guess, associate's level credits.
Yeah.
Took me like 5 years just to complete that amount of school. So, yeah, that's amazing.
Tough. And I did it while working. So I went to school. I did the evening at school and then Saturdays too. So I'd work during the day. I would get ready to go to school and then have my Saturday clinicals. So it was a lot. But I just kept praying. I was like, I got to get through this. And I did. And then I went on. Then I got my bachelor's and I got my master's. So
wow.
Yeah.
So all you need is the associates
to get your license.
Nursing?
Yeah, and there's diploma schools too. I don't even know if they're still around, but you can also get your diploma in nursing.
So what's the pay difference between an associate nurse and versus bachelor's versus master's? Like,
it depends on your job, really. Like if you're working, they may give you $1 more an hour for your bachelor's. What? It depends.
Ain't no way, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
by the loans too. Loans come into play. So finances come into play. Being careful with how you're handling your money.
Yeah. And then getting a master's, you're into not the undergrad, but the post loans. So it's like a different type of loan stacked on top of it. Yeah, that's a lot.
Unless you're working for a company that helps pay for it.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
And knowing the game and using the resources you have too.
So for all of the, actually, another question I want to ask before I ask this question. What's the difference between the LPN, CNA, like all the little letters and stuff?
Yeah, all the letters.
Yeah.
So the LPN is a licensed practical nurse. That's a licensed practicing nurse. And the RN is a registered nurse.
What's the difference between those two?
There's not a whole lot of difference. It's just the licensure process and your education process. So for an LPN to want to be an RN, they do have to go back to school to be an RN, which sucks. So I feel bad for them.
LPN is not RN.
It's not an RN.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not an RN yet.
Okay.
So the LPN is there's certain things that they can't do, like they can't IV push, meds. RNs can. So there's just very small things in their scope of practice that they can't do that the RN can. Yeah.
Okay. And CNA?
And CNA, that's a certified nurse assistant. So that's a nurse's assistant. So they help, with the changes, with the ADLs. Yeah.
I feel like there's another little abbreviation.
Vital signs, stuff like that too.
I can't think of it at this moment. I know CNA, LPN. I feel like there's a 4-letter one. Maybe I'm missing it. But what I was going to ask, so for all of the people out there that are, CNAs, LPNs, or whatever, would you say that everyone should go for being an RN? Like, if they have the ability to do it, is it worth it?
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth it. I know some people now that are LPNs that are going to go get their RN. Like in the hospital, the LPNs, they can't start assessments, like the initial assessment for a patient. They can't be charge nurses, and the RN can. And not slated to them because an LPN was my greatest teacher. So I was in a nursing home and I had some LPNs with me and they taught me everything I know, really. So not slated to them, but, whatever they might love to do. And if they're comfortable where they're at, by all means, stay where you're at. But if you do want growth, RN's the way too.
Okay. Biggest misconception about it or misunderstanding?
About LPNs and RNs?
No.
Or about just
nursing. Being a nurse. Because, all right, from my perspective.
I can give you a lot about that.
So let's start with this. From my perspective, and I don't even know if your answer would tie into this, but when I think of nurses, of course, I think mostly women. Of course, one crazy thing I always hear is the nurses or hospitals in general are wild. Like everybody's sleeping around with each other and stuff like that. Money is a thing. Nurses are always busy. Like for dudes trying to date a nurse, especially if they got kids, like you might as well just hang it up. You might see her every once in a while. Like, are all these things true, or is there?
I would say some of them's true, but I think the big misconception about even just getting into nursing, because a lot of people just see money signs. Like, no, you really have to have a passion to care for people and some customer service skills too, right? Because you're at the bedside, you want to, greet them. Hey, Miss, I don't know, Miss Cupcake, I'll just say.
Miss Cupcake.
Miss Cupcake. And just having those bedside manners and really learning. So I think a lot of times the up and coming nurses, they may not have certain skills yet, like bedside nursing skills or just people skills in general, because you got to be like a people's person to really be up in somebody's face all the time. Hey, bothering you. Hey, you feel okay? Hey, you need anything? But I think you have to have passion for it. You can't just look at, because you won't last. You won't last. You'll want to change your career pretty quick because you're like, this is not for me. I didn't know I was taking out trash and changing somebody's brief as a nurse, or there's some nurses that are like, I'm not doing that. I'm a nurse now. Right. That's not it at all. You help. Everyone helps.
So that's like I don't know. My mind keeps going to overnight nurses. And I don't know if they're nurses or nurses' aides, but anytime me or a family member has to stay overnight, you have to like track down the nurse and, where you at? And they come in all mean, like maybe once, possibly
I think the shortage of nurses in the country that's what affects it. And attitude too. Right. And not being used to handling so much at one time, multitasking all the time. As a nurse, you have to be a multitasker. You have to document at the same time answering the phone, at the same time somebody's at the window or at the nurse's station. I'll call it nurse's station because I'm on the psych unit, so it's all enclosed. But yeah, they'll say, hey, I'm busy. Hey, I need a minute. Give me a couple minutes, that type of thing. It gets busy. It really does. And you don't mean no harm to anyone or want someone to wait. But it does end up happening like that.
So, in general, if somebody's thinking about getting into nursing, they should be a generally positive people person.
Yes. If you're not, it might not be too good for you.
So don't just go chasing money into it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you're going to want to get out of it. You're going to be crying in the corner sometimes, because things happen, people die. I want to say, on my first job, that first week I was a nurse on my new job. That first week I had a death.
Wow. What's that like?
So I think just because of my background, like my spirituality type of background, I handled it well. I'm like, he was elderly. He looked at peace. And we have this thing where we open the window. Every nursing person that knows, especially in the nursing home, we always open the window. I felt the peace in the room. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't like nothing crazy. People think it's real crazy sometimes, but I was used, I was good. I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm fine with it. It didn't bother me.
Do you get numb to it after a while? Like dealing with all the sickness and death, does that have a psychological effect?
For me, I don't think so. I'll give you a couple other examples too. I took care of a lady and she had nobody. She had pictures of horses in her room. That was her family.
Wow.
And she had cancer. I think she had breast cancer. And she was in so much pain. She was so mean. She was just angry all the time. So I just sat down next to her and was talking to her. And I'm like, look, you're in a lot of pain. You need some pain meds. You need something to help you.
Right.
So I told her about morphine. I told her about Ativan, and she was agreeable to it. Like, she calmed down. She wasn't mean no more, when I was talking to her. And we put her on it that night. And she ended up dying, I want to say the next day. She ended up dying the next day.
But not in pain.
But she ain't had no pain.
Yeah.
And there was another one that she fell. I went in the room, pile of blood on the floor.
Oh, wow.
And she was, I want to say, probably 90 years old. And we look in her chart, of course, she doesn't have a DNR, she doesn't have a pulse, she's CPR. So we had to get her up on the bed. I did CPR on her. Immediately cracked ribs. I cracked her ribs.
From CPR? I was just going to say I'd be so nervous about trying to... Man.
Yeah. But we had to wait for the paramedics to get there. And we pronounced her dead. But it really it was a spotlight on that to me. I'm like, people need to know, what are your wishes?
Right.
Like, how do you want to be taken care of? Do you want us to do everything for you to keep you alive? Or do you want just comfort measures only? Do you have your living will set up? How do you want, your estate and your different things, just how do you want it split? Because you're not going to live for the rest of your life. Like, everybody dies.
Yeah, but I mean, so like, I guess hypothetically, like if those people didn't have family, didn't have people, like if I'm going to go soon and I ain't got nobody, I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah.
Yes, it kind of makes sense. Like for me, I always tell my mom and my dad, try to push on them, make sure you have insurance and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially like my dad, like for a while, I was the only one that was like, taking them certain places, hospital for surgeries and stuff like that. I'm like, look, dude, if all your funeral services and all this other stuff is going to fall on me, I need you to have your life insurance and everything intact, because if something happened to you, there's no one else that's going to pop up, and come out their pocket
and take care of it, right?
And I mean, not taking nothing away from my siblings and stuff. I'm sure they would, but just based on that situation at the time, was like, I just don't know. Like, I couldn't answer that question, and I didn't want to be in that position. So
yeah.
I don't know that if I didn't say that, or if I didn't, present that to him, if he would have even thought about it. So
right, there are some people that don't think about it at all because they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to think about it. But it's important.
Yeah, I don't know if I could be in the
We need to know your wishes.
Y'all deal with some crazy stuff, nursing, man. No way. Like, once the first lady died on me, like, I'm done. Like, I'm going back to freaking, I don't know, wiping old people or something.
No, but you'll see that too. Even on that level, as a CNA, as a nurse, you'll see all of that.
You still see it.
You still see it.
I'm going to get a job at Eaton Park then.
That's why you're in engineering.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see people die. Not in that way, anyway. All right. So nursing in general, great thing if you love people, you're a people person, pays decent. But I think I have the understanding now, like, if you love it and it's for you and you know it's for you, then do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't do it just because you want the money, because they probably
ain't gonna work out for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happen. A lot of things can happen.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And you got to care that much for people.
Right.
To work that hard. Even if you're short-staffed, people calling off, you're running around, you feel like a slave. Your legs and feet are getting swollen from running around so much.
So that's a good point.
So,
how much does that affect home life?
Yeah, it can, definitely.
I mean, like, you have the psych aspect of it, of, dealing with someone that died or someone that really sick, maybe that you got close to them, and then you got to go home with that weight on you and still be a mom or a wife or whatever. But then at the same time, you have the crazy hours, like you said, staff shortage.
Yep. So, you can be mandated to stay over.
So, like,
now you're making calls with daycares and family, like, hey, I'm at work, I can't leave.
Yeah.
Do
you think that has affected your home life at all? So relationships, kids, like,
I think so.
have you seen a toll on them at all?
For me, I will say, like, work stuff, I leave right there at work. And then I just put on the hat that I am. Mm-hmm. You know, if I'm mom, if I'm wife, whatever I am that day, that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So I don't even talk about work a whole lot and like what goes on in my day, because it takes up too much time. Mm-hmm. You know, too much quality time where you can be talking about something else. Right. You know, you could talk about your marriage, you could talk about school, and you could talk about other things. So there's certain things where, especially like a woman, where we feel like we need to talk things out and really, like, can you hear me? You know, type of thing. But I think it affects it just a little bit. It does. But you have to be well grounded enough to know that this isn't all of who you are. Mm. You know, work isn't everything of who you are. There's many aspects to yourself. Right. You know, and you just have to learn to cut it off. Cut it off. Don't take it home. And just be who you are in your home. Mm. Be successful at work. Be successful at home. And it don't always happen that way.
Right. No way. Like, for me, I always want to take myself home. I go home and I'm complaining about this person, that person, and I gotta do
this. I'm not a complainer.
Just separate it all together.
Yeah. I'm not a complainer.
I have to. It's not that I have to complain. Like, I wouldn't label myself a complainer, but I have to rationalize things that don't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I need feedback. And my wife is like, probably like my favorite person to throw information off just to see if I'm crazy. Yeah. So it's like, yo, such and such happened today. What you think about this? And she responded like, what? That's crazy. Like, yeah, okay. I'm not going
so you need some validation there. Yeah. You need to feel like, yeah, I'm good.
I make sure I ain't going crazy. Yeah. Because
I feel like people go through enough, you know, for me to like vomit information on them. Mm. You know, if it's something I can handle myself, I'll handle it. If it's too much, you know, I'm intelligent enough and emotionally intelligent enough to know, okay, I got to talk about this. Because it'll bother me.
That is huge.
It'll bother me, and then it'll affect who I am. It'll affect who I am to the people I love.
See, I feel like because you're in the mental health field, I'm going to give you kudos on that. Because that is a very emotionally mature answer. Like, and very unselfish. To be considerate enough of somebody, like, I'm not going to give you my problems and throw this stuff on you. Especially being a woman, because men are... Not always, but in general, like problem solvers, we want to throw on the cake.
Absolutely. My husband says that all the time. Yeah. He wants to solve everything.
Exactly. Like, we don't, like, if a woman comes to us, my wife come to me and say, oh, I did this and I did that, and I hear the frustration, immediately I'm like, all right, what can I do? Like, how do we get from here to happy, to problem solved? So, yeah, to not want to throw that on him, like, yeah, good job. That is great.
Yeah, stress does something to your body. You just can't imagine what it does to you. So even putting stress on someone, increasing their blood pressure, or now they're getting depressed, now they got to solve the world's problems, not just yours. You know, like you said, problem solving, increasing your cortisol levels, your hormones is jacked up. You're wondering why you're having problems in the bedroom. You're wondering why you're having issues. Your mind's just wandering, and it's racing, and you can't stop, and you can't turn it off. You just got to learn how to turn it off.
So is that a thing? Like, I mean, I know it's a real thing, but maybe this is just me, but just recently, let's just say within the past 5 or 6 years, I've been seeing a lot more people complain about anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell if it's because we're more aware of it, or maybe it's like a misdiagnosis. Like, maybe it's just the general consciousness of society is kind of collectively attaching to the concept of it. Like, are we more anxious now, or are we just more aware and have always been that way?
I think we're more anxious now, and this is no professional type of opinion about it. It's just my opinion. I think we're more anxious now because we're not as resilient. We're not used to going through things. We're not used to long suffering. We want an easy fix.
Right.
Going to your phone. We're so used to, going to your phone for everything. It programmed your mind into thinking you want things instant.
Right.
So whatever is making you anxious, you want it fixed immediately, and you can't. So it's bothering you now forever, or, for the time frame of whatever your issue is or what you're thinking about is bothering you for that length of time.
Right.
And you just don't know how to relax your mind. You don't know how to meditate. You have to have coping skills. You just have to know how to deal with the anxiety, because it'll take over your life. It'll take over your identity. It'll take over so much. It'll steal your joy. It will steal your joy.
So you spoke on stress before. How much does that really affect your health? So, I gave the one form anxiety, which there's other different stressors or whatever, but stress in general, like, how realistic is it that if you're stressed out, you actually deal with that on a physical level?
So mind, body, and spirit, it's all tied together. One is off, the other can be affected. So when you are in a state of crisis all the time, like your body's getting burnt out, like you're always in this fight or flight. You're like, do I fight? Do I back down? Your body's like, well, which one you gonna do? Make up your mind. What you gonna do? You gonna quit? You gonna, So when that happens, it will start releasing that cortisol in your blood, and it increases that, which then your blood sugars increase now. It can affect your blood pressure. So stress plays an important role in your body, especially when it comes to sugar diabetes, high blood pressure, all of that. It all plays in. Yeah.
I'm definitely familiar. I don't know if I told you, I had a stroke in April. And I got my
heart attacks, strokes.
Right?
Yeah.
I got my EKG monitor on right now. They still like trying to sort through to find all my tests are like 100% healthy on everything, right? But what happened was, I want to say maybe a month or two, like after that, I had my first episode, I guess, with blood pressure. Where my blood pressure, it was something high. It was like 160 over 98 or something. You probably know what that means more than me. But I had no idea. Like, I was at work, felt fine for the most part. And then I felt weird, like really tired, almost like I had low sugar. It was like, because I had already had the stroke, it was like, I need to go check this out. And by the time I got to the hospital, which was probably like an hour later, and they took my blood pressure, they were like, yeah, this is really, really high. And I had to go through all these tests and stuff like that. But in general, now at my age, I feel like, yeah, I got to check on it. But that associated with my A1C, and for people that don't know, I guess you can explain since you're the professional.
It's like it's a marker for how long your, say, a normal A1C, it's around 5.0. That's a little on the higher end. Once you get like 5.6, you're like pre-diabetic. It's a marker for how high your sugars have been for consecutively a longer time, like over 3 months.
Right.
So instead of doing like a random blood sugar check, which was, I'll just say, for instance, 120, this will give you a history of how you really are doing in your body, how you really are taking care of your body. Blood don't lie. Blood is the truth. Right. So whatever the blood says, that's what you've been doing. You can be like, well, I am eating healthy. What are you talking about? But a month ago you ate donuts for a week straight, and now your sugars are a little bit higher. So it gives the history of how you really, it's your record, of how you really are doing. So the A1C will tell you how your blood sugars range within like a 3-month span.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure I understood that perfectly. But so yeah, my A1C was 5.9 when I checked it around the time that I had my stroke. And then in June, I hit 6.0. It's like my doctor said officially pre-diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I think I weighed like 260. This was, June, and it's December now. I think I lost like 30 pounds now. Basically went on like a modified keto diet, which is like no sugar, very minimal carbs, and, super healthy now. But now that I'm super healthy, they're still trying to run all these tests, and they can't figure out what was wrong because I'm super healthy.
It got better. Yeah. Blood don't lie, right? So how you're doing with your health, whether it's fitness and a combination of it, of course, eating healthy, diet and exercise, your body is your temple.
Right.
So what you put in it, even mentally, can affect you.
Right.
Even what you look at, what you're reading, what you're listening to, that and just everything you're putting in your body. But the blood will say that you did your part.
Man, I would eat like for example, who eats one row of Oreos? That don't make no sense.
That's a lot.
No, like you got a whole pack of Oreos. You eat one row, there's 2 more left. You might as well keep going.
No.
Sad. Like I gotta eat the pie before the kids come eat the
But
rice.
and nobody's perfect. Like I'm not perfect either. I done gained some weight. We'll talk about that. But you just have to pace yourself. Mm-hmm. Even slow progress, as long as you're making some progress.
Yeah.
Into, just investing in yourself and investing in your health.
Yeah. See, with me,
don't eat a whole pack of Oreos. That's
no, don't do it. I have a very, I don't want to say addictive personality, but I get addicted to things easy. And it's like, I just almost insatiable when it comes to certain
just like
things.
Coffee.
Yeah.
A lot of people with coffee it is. And then the sugar in the coffee, everything you're added to it.
Literally, I got to drink coffee every day. So for me, I just got to quit cold turkey. And that's basically what I did with the sugar.
That's your personality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just...
We don't talk about different personalities.
Not at all.
The dependent personalities, the independent personalities.
Yeah, I guess we can shift to that. But you know what? I want to finish up on the medical stuff. I guess while we're here, mental stuff, like neurodivergence specifically. Mm-hmm. So this is something that I was actually really excited about talking to you.
Really?
About, because there's this whole, it almost feels like a marketing campaign of neurodivergence, neurospicy. Like everybody has some level of neurodivergence now. It appears that way, whenever you look on social media, TV and stuff like that. And to me, it's almost the same thing like the question I asked about anxiety, where, is it just that we're more aware of it now? Or, like the whole self-diagnosing culture of, oh, it's my ADHD, even though you never talked to a doctor. Like, what is that? Is it like a little bit of both? Like
as to where are they getting that from? Like,
I mean,
trying to self-diagnose.
Okay, how do you feel about the people that self-diagnose? Like, do you feel it's good? Because my bad, I'm kind of running on with this. Just add one more point. I found that for adults, there's very limited support in Pittsburgh. I don't know about other places, but because I live here. So myself, there was some conversation in my family about my own personal neurodivergence, and I got really curious. And I called around to try to get screened and tested and stuff. And one place was like, oh, we're booked up for the next 1.5 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
And the other place is like, oh, we don't do adults no more. So that kind of made me feel like, okay, well, I'm neurodivergent, like wanting to diagnose myself. So what do you feel about this self-diagnosis?
First, I do think it is sad that a lot of people don't get into psychiatry really anymore. And I really don't know why, I think it's because, you don't want to deal with people. Nobody wants to deal with people anymore. They just, let's do AI, everything AI, because, you don't want to sit down and really deal with someone. But it actually helps. It helps you communicate. It helps your relationship. It helps you in your life. But to your point, there's just a lack of psychiatry services. Now there is, but I think there could be more. But you have to reach out for help. Keep calling people. I ain't gonna say call me, but people do. People call me. People reach out to me. You can look if you need help. You need help. But you have to keep searching so you can get that assessment done, because you don't want to diagnose yourself. Because really, some of it can be, like your anxiety. That don't mean that you're labeled as a diagnosis of anxiety. You could be having anxiety because of something in your life, because it's situational. You can have situational anxiety.
Right.
That doesn't mean you actually have a diagnosis of anxiety. And even some people like in the hospital that even come on the mental health unit. And because of my gifts and because of how spiritual I am and with the anointing that I have, I could tell some of their struggles are spiritual and not medical.
Right.
So even sometimes with talking them through situations or even prayer, it works wonders.
Right.
It does. It works wonders. And you have to know the difference. Like, is there really something wrong with me, or is this warfare within myself?
Right.
And check out the difference, But if you are in a true crisis, a mental health crisis, you should call someone, talk to someone. If you are suicidal, you should definitely get checked out. They do have the suicide hotline. It's 988. I believe that God knows your time. You don't. And you should never try to take your life for any reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Your life should not be taken.
So if you need help,
you should
seek
some help. Seek some help.
What about the people that just casually say it in fun, like, "Oh, that's my ADHD," or like I'm ADHD.
Or you struggle with labeling yourself is your words are powerful in how you say things. You could say, I struggle with ADHD. My attention span is like this and I'm struggling. But there are true people that do have ADHD, of course.
Right.
But you're saying, like, what if they really don't? They're just self-diagnosing themselves. You need to go get checked out to see if you really do.
For someone to speak to you, what would they get? I don't know what, like, as far as your profession, I guess, what you would offer. Like, do you diagnose, or would you say like a pre-assessment of, okay, I feel like you should probably go see a doctor, or nah, you don't need to worry about it. Don't sound too serious. Like one of those type things.
So the assessment, of course, the psychiatric assessment, they ask you things like, are you suicidal? Are you going to do anything to harm yourself? Do you have history of mental health?
No, I'm saying for you specifically.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Well, that's whenever I did do assessments as a nurse. But since I moved up, I'm a leader in that role, and I manage the nurses. So, but I don't diagnose anyone. Now, we can talk to the doctors and be like, hey, doc, these are the symptoms I see, and this is what I'm thinking, But until he assesses and sees, that's when they put, the diagnosis on it. Nursing, we can do the care plans, the nursing diagnosis, but we can't do medical diagnoses.
So I feel like you're probably not allowed to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Just because I'm in a completely different career field and I understand the concept. So I feel like I'll speak from my own career field. So I'm an engineer, electrical engineer. I work with electricians and technicians. There are some really extremely competent technicians that are almost at engineer level of understanding. And then there's some that are you shouldn't even be a technician. You should be working at Walmart. Where if someone goes to them and asks them, hey, what current, what size wire should this be for this current or whatever? Technically, like an engineering level question, a technician can answer that. And I know this technician, therefore I'm able to say, yeah, trust him. Whatever answer he gives you, trust them. I feel like the same applies in the medical field, where there are nurses that are competent enough, not saying that they're doctors or they play a doctor role, but maybe the doctors trust them enough to understand and trust their opinion on certain medical things.
Oh, absolutely. True? Like, you build relationships with each other, trusting relationship with each other to value the opinion. So the doctor can definitely value the opinion of the nurse, or I don't even want to say opinion, what's blatantly facts, what they're really experiencing. Oh, this person is experiencing paranoid hallucinations. They're experiencing, decreased appetite, or thinking the cops is coming to get them every 5 seconds. They're hiding under the table. Is this psychosis? Did they take something? Let's check the drug screen. Let's see if they took anything. Because sometimes, and I'll say this, there's synthetic marijuana, there's things that they're selling, in the gas stations, and people are going crazy. Literally.
Yeah, that's it. They call it like Special K or something like that?
Yeah. So, K2.
K2, that's what it is.
There's a few other ones too. I'm not, but even like fentanyl and just different things that they take. And you're not realizing what you're doing to your body. And it's making your body react a certain way where you're hallucinating, you're getting violent, those type of things.
That's something that I wasn't aware of. I'm literally just learning now at 44 years of age that everything that I do, introduce, or don't do to my body affects my body. Where now I'm starting to see some of the results of the life I lived in my early 20s, where, you in your early 20s,
experiment.
Experiment.
Trying everything.
And you could do pretty much anything, and you barely see any effects of it.
Even alcohol. Alcohol is the worst.
Yeah.
People that drink alcohol excessively and say they stop, like, you can go through withdrawals, you can have seizures, we call it like an alcoholic brain. Some people get like this dementia too from the alcohol. It's a killer. It's a depressant. Some people will drink it and they're thinking it'll make them feel better, when really it's a depressant. It's a downer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that...
Then you got the uppers. You got cocaine. You got crack cocaine. You got, ecstasy, the different drugs that will boost you up. Some people will take advantage of the Adderall and use different things like that too.
Is that to say that you should never drink alcohol, or it's like...
everything in moderation, really. Okay. Everything in moderation. But if you have an addictive personality, stay away.
Right.
Just stay away from it.
How is it being a wife and a mom while being in the medical field and having all this insider information health-wise? Like, I feel like personally, if my wife was in the medical field, a nurse, and she's telling me, oh, don't do too much of this, and
don't nobody listen.
Like, I would be so pissed.
Don't nobody listen. I ain't stressed.
Like,
I'm content in myself. They, you can say something and, hey, I'm just telling you, and then you run with it. They run with it. They don't. It's like, well, I told you, but yeah.
I mean, do it ever frustrate you? Like, seeing something
sometimes
that is like you literally... I
can't get too frustrated because I do it too. That's the thing. I eat donuts too. I do certain things I know isn't always healthy, but...
Is there something specific that like someone can do that to you is just like an absolute no-no medically? Like, I don't know. Maybe somebody gets a cut on their hand and they don't wash their hands or something.
Yeah.
Something that just drives you wild.
I think what irks me the most is with high blood pressure, because there's too many young men, especially Black men, that are dying because of high blood pressure. High blood pressure leads to heart disease, to stroke, to heart attacks. And they don't care enough to be screened. They ignore every symptom that they have, headaches, like you said, being tired, being weak. I don't know what's wrong with me, not really taking care of themselves, being stressed all the time because of all the demands on what a man needs to do or has to do, because it's killing them young. I think things that really kill you young bothers me. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I feel like we're probably the last generation that will go through that as much, because we're like the last generation. Well, I'm including you in my generation, like we the same age. My bad. She's not as old as me, y'all. But close enough. I'm like the older millennial group, we'll say, Zennials. But we're the last little bit of, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. And the men from, not all, but a lot of the men from my generation are like tough, whatever, brush it off, pick yourself up. You'll be fine. You'll get through it.
But y'all talk so much stuff on yourselves. So that's what bothers me. Like you have this heroic type of, I have to fix everything, and you will do whatever it takes, even if it's bashing yourself, to say, get it together, come on, or pounding things or whatever, and really hard on yourself. You're so stupid, you're this, you're that, and you talk down on yourselves a lot. That's what bothers me about our generation of men.
So, all right.
Hard on yourself. Hard on yourself.
But it's not what it seems like from the outside. It's literally putting a battery like in our own backs, like giving us a spark.
Yeah.
I have this image of my uncle when I was a kid, and the way he would raise his nephews. Everything was like, they would just walk around growling all the time. So like, I think my cousin got hit with something or, kicked his foot on something in a lot of pain. He just stop and make a muscle and start growling.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, damn it, you idiot. Whatever. Like, all of that is just, like, you ever see in football when, they all get together, they huddle up and they're screaming and they're chanting and growling at each other, all of that shit. It's basically hyping yourself up. Like, it's like boosting your own testosterone to get through it. And it worked for us. I don't think...
It still works. It still works. It does.
But I don't see many of the younger generation doing it as much. Like the 30 and unders. No, we're a very... get it done. I think on the last podcast I was talking about, like, we know how to solve problems in terms of like feeding ourselves. So like a lot of the younger generation now, they have this thing where they need someone to completely explain everything to them. How do you do it? Damn near do it for me. Like, oh, if don't nobody feed me, if don't nobody help me out, then I'm just going to sit here and starve. To me, that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, or, really try to take their life because they can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And people have to open their mouth and say something. And I think even for the generation, your generation of men, you pick up your bootstraps, you get going, you do things because you hype yourself up. You hype yourself up. It's motivation.
It feels
how does the younger kids, how can they motivate themselves to get it together?
I don't know. Like, I try to instill that toughness in my kids, but it's like they generation has too much of a tight grip on them, and they not hearing my Gen X ways.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, I feel like my generation had a tap, like a button to boost our testosterone to get us through stuff. Like, I remember this one time. Me and my best friend, we were kids. We had to be 7, 8 years old, right? We were at Lake Erie. His family went on a trip to Lake Erie, and they took me, and there were rocks leading up to the lake. Mind you, we're 7, 8 years old. We weren't allowed to wear our shoes in the car because they were wet and muddy, had sand all over them. We got out the car. we had to get from the parking lot to the lake across the rocks, 7, 8 years old. My homie took his shoes off and literally sprinted, like ran across these rocks. I couldn't make it. At the time, I didn't know how to tap into my testosterone, but apparently he had it and he toughed it out all the way. And it was almost like walking on hot coals or like glass. It was like the worst thing in the world.
Oh my goodness.
Where that concept, like that idea of be a man, like it might hurt a little bit for a while, but you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean?
I think too, just by you saying that, what comes to my mind is, what about the trade jobs? HVAC, electrical engineers, mechanics.
Yeah.
I really do think that molded the men in time to be tough, get things done and fix things. Now they're like, well, I just want to sit on my computer, or, I want to do this type of job.
Yeah.
I think the real roots of a man come from labor. I do.
That's definitely a thing.
And I honestly think, too, even just thinking about the Bible and, Adam and Eve, that was going to be the curse of the man, was the labor of the fields.
That makes sense. I mean, to an extent, it's kind of like, I won't say we as a society don't need men, but in a way, they've made it so that everything a man does can be purchased as a service. Like something happens to your car, take it to a mechanic, pay to get your lawn mowed. Something happens in your house, whatever.
What if you ain't got the money all the time? What you gonna do?
I mean, true, but
go get it done.
But at the same time, it takes away, I guess, the necessity of having a man around. But if you ain't got the money, hope you got a brother or uncle or something like that.
Somebody to help you out, right?
I guess, yeah.
I think the men that do labor, they definitely deserve their flowers, because they keep it going. They keep, the world going, because that's what's needed, really.
Yeah.
Those services are definitely needed.
Did you see that? I think it was Ford. They're like struggling to hire new mechanics or something like that, paying like $100,000 a year.
I heard something about that. Yeah,
something crazy. It's a thing. So, like me as an engineer, hiring for technicians underneath me, I can't find many. Like last guy we hired, I feel like we went for months and months trying to find somebody, like almost a year, and just couldn't. Just
it's tough. Yeah.
Some people have
nobody
jobs.
wants to do it anymore.
I don't think it's that no one wants to do it. What I find mostly is most of the younger generation isn't curious, and they're not as much problem solvers. Like, not as much as we were. Man, I'm not going to say that everybody's like that. But like when I was a kid, we were making stuff as kids. We make bow and arrows. We were climbing trees. We, take a bunch of rubber bands and try to make traps to catch squirrels and stuff like that. So the trades was like a natural progression for us, because we were working with our hands, trying to build stuff, fix stuff, make stuff. When, dad's plugging in the VCR to the TV, you standing right there like, hey, can you show me how to do it?
Yeah.
Same exact concept, but it's just not a thing anymore. So.
What do you think that is?
Internet, definitely. I think to a certain extent, I think we have too many options. And what I mean by that is there's so many choices that almost like it is, how do I explain this? When I was younger, there were only certain things that were realistic for us, realistic paths for us to follow. And it was almost like a culture of, this is it. The older I got was like, Okay, let's just say when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a rapper. It wasn't a realistic choice. It wasn't a realistic choice because in 1995, 1996, you couldn't just become a rapper. Like, there was a very slim chance, damn near impossible, that I would come across a famous producer or be able to get to a record label. Like, when people got deals at that time, it was damn near luck, right? Now, you can be a rapper on your own. You can make your song, put it on the internet, and if people like it enough, you're a famous rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can literally be anything that you want to be if you just do it. Whereas back to when I was younger, rapping was damn near out of the question. To be a famous or celebrity or a rich athlete, something like that, you're still competing against millions of other people. So that was slim to narrow too. So realistically, it was, get a job, go to the trades, and everybody in the family were doing trades. So it was kind of like that's where you go. Then, of course, the 80s and 90s, racism was a thing. We didn't know it would be this lesser amount of racism now, but it was like, if when you get out of high school, thinking from, we'll say, grade school and middle school. So me looking in the early 90s at what I want to be, I'm thinking by the time I get to college, I got to deal with this same racist stuff that I'm dealing with, in grade school and middle school. And I don't want a future like that. So I'm aiming for, trades. This is where my culture, my family, everything else. So it was more like a limited amount of choices.
Yeah. And I don't know why this is brought up to me. This is what I'm thinking about when you're saying this too. Because of the amount of choices now and how easy things are. Oh, I'll just do this. Oh, I'll do that. I think that's even affecting marriages too, because it's affecting with your mind, because you already have this programmed in your brain now that you have choices.
Yeah.
You ain't got to deal with this. I can quit. It don't matter. I'll move on to something new or move on to something different.
Yeah.
And it affects us because now it's like, you're in this marriage and you're like, I want something different. This ain't working, or, what it might be. I think it's starting to affect, our minds in marriage because you're not fighting for it. You're just like, I can get something else. I could do something else.
And that's from the internet too, right? Because it's like I remember there was a time, I'm just like listing all my memories on here, but I remember there was a time when the most gorgeous, pretty women were like secluded to their neighborhood. So like the nervous, shy or introverts didn't come outside. They're in their neighborhoods, and you might run into, that's why we used to go parking lot pimping. We go to the mall or whatever. You might happen to see a cutie at the mall. You get her phone number. The homies in my hood have never met this girl. They've never seen this girl. They have no idea
she don't come
is.
out.
Exactly. She from McKeesport.
I got her Valley girls.
So now I tell my homies, yo, come on, y'all. We going to go visit, my girl. And she got a bunch of friends and stuff like that. Where everyone didn't know each other, right? Like, we met each other because we had mutual friends and stuff. And eventually, oh, so-and-so. Yeah, I know so-and-so. Now, every single person that you meet knows everybody almost, and even if they don't know them, they've seen them online somewhere.
Yeah,
they've
or heard of them, or
And it's like, there's opportunities everywhere. Like, why settle on this when, I could just go on Tinder and swipe. And pick whoever I want. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, especially as a woman, because women, more in demand.
And you got to think about women and men. There's really not enough men on earth for the women.
Right.
It's really not. Like,
okay,
there's a lack of men for women, for each to have their own.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I feel like people don't even look at it like that in depth though. Like, that's like climate change, like one of them things that it just slap people in the face down the line. How do we, as a Black community, as the Black community in Pittsburgh, how do we fix this whole, or try to mend this men versus women narrative? Like the whole...
I think it has everything to do with working together and building together. You know, people get this mindset where, you know, I can do it by myself. I don't need nobody.
Right.
You know, and that really fails you right there. Like, if you have that mindset, you're failing already. You know, I don't care how prideful you are. Take that pride off, because that's what that is. That's pride. You know, so a woman to be like, I'm independent, I don't need nobody. That's pride. That's pride. That's for real pride. So just working together and building and just respecting who we are, even just as a gender. Like, you know, men and females, just men need respect. They do.
True.
Women need love.
So my wife and I, we sit at home and she'll look at her Instagram, like she'll send me memes and stuff like that. And I'm on Threads. Like I told you earlier, I'm on Threads, and all the toxic conversations, I'm a part of it. And we just send stuff back and forth and have these conversations. But it made me realize men and women are equally as toxic, but depending on where you're at, like what your algorithm shows is what you'll see. So like you are creating your own soapbox on the internet, basically, where like my algorithm, because I'm reacting to all this crazy madness of women responding and stuff like that, I'm seeing this world. It feels like almost like a fishbowl, like an aquarium world of just evil men bashing women. And I'm like, oh, what's wrong with the world today? These women is crazy. Whereas I look at her algorithm and it's completely different. You know, she's not necessarily seeing like, you know, the flip side of it. Hers is more religious and spiritual and stuff. But it's definitely different from mine.
Yeah.
And I feel like, of course, the internet is contributing to that. I don't really understand how to mend it, or even if it's mendable. So like OnlyFans and you know, this whole culture of too much sex, too much instant gratification, too much having the ability to, you know, date right here, right now. Just easy access for everything. Like, this is an AI. This is the way of the world. Is there a way to get through this? Or what's your opinion on to get through this? Because like, this is it. We can't change it, right? How does one go from this to being mentally healthy and not hating the opposite sex, loving, embracing? And I guess that's more from like a mental health standpoint, but also spiritual.
Yeah, I think it's more spiritual than mental. I think it comes from really, you got to put God first, and everything will be added unto you. So when you put God first, there can't be any other idols. Even money, women, sex, nothing can be greater than God. Right. So if you build that relationship with God, He will have that relationship with you, and He will tell you of things, you know, that you're supposed to do. And not saying that God came in the form of a man through Jesus Christ. So He knows our feelings. Like, we can be real, we can talk to Him, those type of things. But I think in order for the change to happen with the instant gratification is consecration, is fasting and praying. No one takes the time to consecrate. No one takes the time to isolate. You know, sometimes you feed so much into your mind.
Hold up. You just use a big word. And I'm trying to think like, nigga, use context clues. Look, I ain't passed that class in college. What do consecrate mean?
It's like setting yourself apart and really just So you can consecrate in the way of, I'm not getting on social media, I'm going to dedicate my time and I am going to not sin and I'm going to shut off the world and just let it be me and God.
So what do you say to people that aren't religious or spiritual?
Really, it has nothing to do with religion.
Well, I mean, someone that listening to this audience that would say, the keywords that I hear, God, prayer, sin, I don't know, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Like when someone reacts or responds like that, are there any words you can offer them to assist?
Yeah, I would say this, just look around you. There is a God. There's no way that any robot or anything made us, made the universe, you're looking up to the sun and the planets and different things like that. There has to be. What about when you die? Where are you going? Where's your spirit going? Because we have a spirit too.
Right.
There's evidence of that. There's evidence of your spirit, of your soul, of your physical body. But if you don't, I would challenge that person to gain the knowledge. You can't limit yourself to say, I'm here. I don't believe in God. I don't this. I think it's just you're limiting yourself to knowledge.
Yeah, I think so. I had a conversation with my cousin earlier. I remember I mentioned God. He almost cussed me out. Like, what? I'm like, dude, and it wasn't even like a spiritual type conversation. I'm like, whoa, slow down. But I guess the point that I'm making is in the concept of bridging gaps, right? Where, you want to teach somebody something or get someone to have this understanding. Going to this place of, hey, with social media, the way the world is today, we're in this wild, crazy state, this status of like, we're messed up and we need to do something to solve this problem so that you can be mentally healthy, and have happy, fulfilled relationships. But in order for you to get from A to Z first, you need to have this outlook, this perspective, whether that's God, whether that's something in yourself. Maybe it starts with God. If they're closed off and they don't want to hear it, let's just say like majority people in this space are like that. How do we reach them?
So I think that how we reach them is really just the human in us, being real, telling stories, your testimony, your, what you've been delivered from. Because somebody has a story. Those people, they struggle with something, that a believer probably have struggled with too, and can help them like, look, this is how I became healed. You're dealing with this situation. This is how I became healed.
Right.
Telling your testimony and not being afraid, to tell your testimony. And even, if somebody isn't looking to God, because I do believe everybody gets a chance, an encounter with him. If you want mental clarity because of, social media and you're always on stuff, you're always on your tablet, when do you really take a break? When do you really quiet your mind? Do you take the time out for that? Is it a habit? Do you do that weekly? Do you do that only whenever you're stressed up to here? You're like, okay, I got to take a break. That's killing people. It's killing our people.
That's a good point. I almost want to throw in there spending human quality time without technology. Like what I try to do now, I go fishing a lot. You know me, I'm always outdoors for the longest. But I try to get with my friends from work.
Well, what about yourself? By yourself?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
All the time. In fact, my wife loves it. She, go ahead, do your thing. She send me out, and I could probably spend a whole weekend out in the woods as long as she knows I'm safe. It's all good. But yeah, spending time in I guess primarily with children. So or public audience. Spend time with your children. You got to get the audience get the kids when they're younger for the audience. I want to circle back. You touched on the concept of people being independent. And that was, I know we touched on it for a second, kind of left it alone, but the concept we were talking about earlier of independence versus interdependence versus being dependent. So in terms of relationships. So I got this concept from a book that I read. It's called, I believe it's The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, where it described the difference between relationship types that are too independent versus too dependent versus, right in the middle balance of interdependent. I believe I explained enough of interdependence. I think I covered everything, just like going off of my memory. How would you describe your own marriage in terms of those 3?
Okay. Now, there was a time where, I'm thinking, okay, I'm more independent, but I am humble enough to know that this is a partnership, and I would say it's more interdependent because we have to depend on each other. And, where I may lack, he will pick up. Where he may lack, I may pick up.
Do you feel like at that stage where you were more independent, like, do you feel like that was more like detrimental, or like, was there ever a point where your level of independence was good or bad? Like, what stage would you champion in that?
What stage would I champion?
Yeah, because I mean,
I
don't know if I'm
I am the type of person that I like to build.
Okay.
So I like a team. I don't feel like you can be as successful by yourself. So that mindset of independence, even just for myself, I don't want to be totally independent. I don't. I know and I'm aware that I need help.
Right.
I need help with things. So, but I'm in the sense of, if you want to build, you can't be independent
by yourself.
By yourself, because you're only going to get to a certain level, and that's it.
Right.
If you need to go further, you need other people to help you.
That part right there. I was talking to my wife. We were talking about so she's like, how can I explain this? She does a lot. And she runs like her nonprofits and stuff like that. And I've always been the type of man that's like, not like my grandfather raised me, but I have a lot of his teachings, which is like Gen X, of like, I'll go make the money and you do whatever you want to do for my wife. Where I got the bills, I got all the necessities. If you want to make your extra money, go ahead and make your extra money. Whatever you want to do, spend it on whatever. Something struck me thought-wise, and we had this conversation. It occurred to me that the fear and the reason for, her wanting more independence is, if something happens to me, if, God forbid, some crazy situation, or I guess hypothetically, if I chose to leave or whatever, if I am paying for everything and she doesn't have a significant source of income on her own, then she's thinking, what about me and my situation and, the kids and stuff? And there's a lot of women, I guess, that feel the same, that have even been through situations like that. So the idea of like being interdependent, and I guess even bringing in a portion of that 50-50 conversation, right? It has its relevance. I have my opinion in what I would add to the conversation, but like, what's your opinion on all of that?
So women want to feel secure, security. You have to communicate in a way to her to say, you're still going to be fine because there's a plan, or you have to show that plan. We need to, just like y'all are visual, we need concrete facts and concrete, like, okay, is this account accessible to only me? So you're going to put money into this account that's only accessible to me, and we can't use it in case anything. And, you know, granted, you don't want to plan so much that you're planning to be apart.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like some people like, you know, and there's prenups and different things, you know. But and a lot of women go through that, you know, scared to leave their husband. You know, even if it's an abusive relationship, they won't leave because they're dependent on them. Yeah. You know, and this goes back to, you know, putting God first, even over your husband, even over your wife, even over your kids, you know, and knowing, you know, is this the time to leave? How am I going to? He will take care of you no matter what. So I'll give you an example. And I know I keep going back to God and everything, but so there was a time where I wanted to go to this concert, and I didn't have much money, right? So I'm like, I'm going. I really want to go. I'm going. I don't care. So, and I was so humble about it. I was so content. Whatever I had was what I had. And I would make do. I would plan out how I'm eating. I would just plan it out because I'm going to use what I have, you know. And I sat there, and I was with a friend, and she didn't know. But we had separate seats on the plane. This guy I sat next to, and we were talking, and he just pulls out of it. He just, can you hand me my bag? You know, takes his bag and is like, here. I'm like, what? What are you doing? You know, and he's like, well, God told me to give it to you. He said, I don't know why. He's like, I don't know why, you know, because I never carry cash on me. But something told me to take this cash. So I took this cash with me. So we kept talking, and a lot of it, you know, is about God. And before he got up to leave on the plane, he went back in there again. He was like, I wasn't being 100% obedient. He said, here's the rest of it. So, wow. Yeah, so he gave me all the money that he was supposed to, that God told him to give me. So you never know how God's going to bless you. So you can't be afraid to step in a direction that he wants you to go, because he'll find a way to get it to you. And then I was like, God, I don't know if I should take this. He was like, you better take that money. God set this up for a reason. Wow. So don't be too naive. You better take this money. But I don't even remember what the point was, but he will take care of you no matter what, as long as you're putting him first in everything. Yeah. The independent wives. Yes.
So yeah, the part I guess I would add to that, that I definitely believe, which is funny with everything for me and my wife. In fact, the whole way that we got married, like literally everything was like, it was almost like following a carrot. Like, you know, and the rabbit with a fishing pole holding a carrot in front of it, and you just follow the path. Like everything was so easy. And it was like it was supposed to be that way. Like literally it felt like Jesus had the will.
And it's organic
throughout the whole process.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very organic.
Same thing with this podcast. I didn't even want to do a podcast. I just wanted to talk to people. And because, you know, I had issues trying to do a podcast before. It just didn't work the way I wanted it to. And this, like, everything just happened to come together perfectly.
Because why? Because of the trust in God, or?
Well, for me, I'm a little different. we'll probably have to have a
We'll
conversation
have bump
off
heads.
camera.
It's okay.
No. We'll probably have to have a conversation off camera because I feel like it's not that I don't want the public to know. I don't really care, but it's such a long, detailed explanation, and I'm
We ain't got time for that.
Yeah, I'm long-winded in general.
We ain't got time for that.
But
I remember I'm a nurse.
Right? Hey, I might need some directional, go
Not
talk
me
to
with
a
time,
doctor.
how you say?
Oh, time, yeah. I thought you was about to give me a diagnosis
See?
Tell me I'm neurodivergent or some shit. No, that, the podcast, everything is just like, this is
Do you
what
think
it's
it's because
supposed
you
to
got
be.
married to her because he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and it could be favor?
Okay, I'll go into it a little bit.
You don't have to.
My wife I call her my guardian angel. And I even wrote it in my vows. Like, it is literally like an angel fell from heaven and God was like, go find him.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what it feels like. Like, changed
That's
everything
beautiful.
for me in life, like, period. All the way down to she's super silly and she's like almost like an alien that has never been on Earth before. So I'm introducing her to life. Yeah. And it's like watching an alien for the first time, like, experience social culture. Not saying like she's a super weirdo or nothing, but she's just super silly like that. It's just funny. But so in general, going back to the independent thing, when, for me, my whole thing is, because it feels so natural. Of course, writing down, showing her the steps, the plan for everything, how it's going to go, giving her, access, beneficiary for all the accounts and stuff, to give her that understanding, security on everything. But it feels extremely natural to me to say, everything that I have, half of it is yours. Not even half of it, like, really all of it is yours. To me, it's like, this isn't my money that I'm making full time. This is our money because, like, we're a team. We're operating this machine, and yeah, I'm doing this portion, but you're doing all these other portions. And this is our money. I just happen to be, working this portion of this whole entire machine. So within that, it's like, whatever happens, if we decide mutually we don't want to be together, a year from now, whatever, sure, take your half, take more than half. I don't care. Like, you earn this just as much as I did. And that's how I carry it. That's my energy, like, towards the whole conversation. Yeah. So everything that I do, when it comes to writing her name, beneficiary, whatever, name on accounts and stuff, I always treat it like that. So
it's trust too. It's a lot of trust.
Yeah. Trust is definitely a big portion of the conversation. Which brings me to, what do you think is the biggest challenge in marriage?
The biggest challenge. From your perspective. Everybody's going to, communication is always the biggest challenge. Because I feel like, as an individual, you have these emotions too. And sometimes you might say the wrong things, or even the lack of communication, is the biggest challenge too. In marriage, finances can be a biggest challenge in marriage too. But I think that communication is probably the number one challenge. People don't always feel they can express themselves all the time. Or they might offend their partner, or not really be totally honest and brutally honest without somebody getting upset. Because women are, we can be sensitive and emotional at times. And I think that, when you're trying to display something important, you just have to check in and see where their headspace is first.
You know what I wanted to ask you? Okay, being a woman, being one of the more logical women that I know, I'm sure you understand the difference, or at least hear the narrative of, like, men are more logical, women are more emotional, right? And there's not saying it's literally like that because women are logical too, men are emotional too. But I feel like there's some level of realness to that where it comes from. Being in the medical field, being a nurse that works in mental health, is there, what do you say to those men and women that are having those conversations and aren't communicating properly, where, maybe a woman is trying to express something and she's just talking with her emotions, or maybe she reacts with her emotions to something that was said logical, but she's misinterpreting what was said based on anxieties or fears. And, a dude says just literally, what it is. Oh, you look fine, or I was just doing this. Yeah. And she hears something completely different.
Right.
Is that
articulating it too, and really sitting down and say, hey, I really got to talk to you. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, or I'm not trying to do this or do that. But I need to express my feelings. I'm just please be a listening ear. Don't be a problem solver right now. Mm-hmm. Just setting the tone, the foundation of what your conversation is going to be.
What about the people that don't listen? The people
that have a hard time to listen?
Yeah.
They need help within themselves.
So
they probably need therapy.
So what should, in a given relationship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a friendship, trying to date, whatever, when you're trying to communicate and you have a breakdown of communication because one person is not listening, what should the person that is dealing with the person that's breaking down, what should they do? Just be quiet?
If they're just not listening at all?
Yeah.
Okay. So you give the person time. Mm-hmm. And you can't let that eat you up. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes, whether it's a woman or a man, the silent treatment, don't want to communicate, don't want to listen, you go about your day like it's not going to affect you. Because you have joy within yourself. I'm going to just wait and be patient until they're ready. It might take a day or two, but don't let it fluster your day and disrupt you, because now you got two angry people. It just doesn't work.
That makes sense. Give them time.
Give them time.
Yeah. There's definitely, my wife and I have two different, situational types, I guess, where I like to find answers and solve problems immediately. Mm-hmm. And
you sound like me and my husband.
He's
similar. He likes to solve problems, yeah. And I'm like her. I'm more spiritual. I'm more like, I'm more like her. You're more like him.
She does that all the time. She's like, she gives me very few words, right there in that moment. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what? Tell me, what's going on?
I don't talk a lot either.
Yeah.
At all. I don't talk much. So you're lucky I'm here because I don't talk.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. All right. Next concept, ghosting. You know what? I wasn't even going to bring this up, but you just made me think about it with the communication thing. Is ghosting healthy?
I think it depends on the situation.
How so?
I really do. If you're not mentally strong enough to deal with someone, ghosting might be the option. You got to get out.
So if someone ghosts me, I have the right to call them mentally weak? Just saying,
no, you can't say they're mentally weak. They don't want to deal with you.
I'm just saying, all right.
You just take it as, if you're ghosted, you just got to take it as, okay, they don't want to be bothered with me.
I mean, yeah. But I don't know. I've always been taught, express yourself, communicate.
Yeah.
If you have an issue with someone, let them know, hey, I have an issue.
Do it first. I get it too. So I'll say this. When I was single or someone's trying to talk to me or keep coming at me, I'm going to say, leave me alone. There's going to be something there. It's just not going to be a straight ghost.
Right.
So I see what you mean. you're just straight ghosting me.
Yeah. I mean, because maybe it's a generational thing, but I'm from, that generation, that culture of don't burn a bridge before you know where it could possibly go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just was always taught you don't want to create enemies when you don't even know if they're an enemy or not. And ghosting to me is extremely disrespectful. So like if I'm striving to
give an
do
explanation.
Like with me starting a podcast, for example. If I go around or if I was a person in the past that was ghosting everybody, not responding, leaving people on red and stuff. Well, now I got a podcast. I need to interview people. I need help with stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going around calling, yo, you talked to such and such. My cousin, I ain't dealing with you. Now like, and I don't go through nothing like that. Like, it's just hypothetical, but in general, I don't like it. Yeah. And the reason I brought it up is because I've seen it. Like, people back it up, of course, on Threads, because I troll people on Threads. But people back it up, on there and on TikTok and stuff, and they're just champion, the whole concept of ghosting, and they present it as if it's healthy psychologically.
And I think people don't want to use the energy to talk to someone. That's how sad it is with communication.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to be bothered. And they don't want to waste their energy, or they're like, they might be just disrespectful. That just type of person that's like, I don't want to deal with that. But that's the same thing. They don't want to waste the energy on it. They don't want to be bothered with you, or they don't want to tell you something, and they just don't care. Like, this generation just doesn't care.
Is that unhealthy at all?
It is. It's not a healthy way to deal with any issue, because really you're going to struggle your whole life with relationships. If you don't know how to talk to someone, you're going to struggle in every relationship in your life.
Right. Yeah, that and not responding to long paragraphs. Like I definitely write long paragraphs to everyone, and it'd be family members, like anybody, and they always respond, "I'm not reading all that." Like, what?
Yeah, sometimes it can be a bit much. I will say, because I'm not yours. I'm just there's some people that have wrote me long paragraphs, and I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, I can see, this? Like, if you're at work,
and I could tell they were manic. You know what I mean? Like, I could tell some of these people. I'm like, okay, she's bipolar, but and having the time to do it, because I feel like certain people might not have that time to respond yet. Like, hey, I'll get back to you. Give me a minute. It might be something quick, like, okay, give me a second, but letting them know, like, okay, yes, I acknowledge I saw it, but, I can't really respond, like, right now.
Makes sense. So I feel like you agree with me. It's entirely disrespectful, and they need to stop that shit. I'm just saying.
And there's sometimes where I feel like sometimes there are reasons to have that boundary and just cut someone off.
Yeah.
Like, there is. But in the situation you're talking about, like, that's not cool.
Yeah, like if someone is draining, like if they are almost like a leech maybe, or they have negative energy, they're bringing you down. Not you're being brought down by their energy, but if they have such a negative energy that's like affecting you in a negative way, then yeah, to me that seems justified. But if I'm not being negative in any type of way, if it's just, hey, what's up? And you read it, there's a red notification.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, what the? And it's not even like a relationship type thing. It's like, I've been ghosted by people just hitting them up to be interviewed on a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people that I'm having a full conversation with. Yo, you want to stop
and
through?
They just don't.
They read it and they stopped replying.
They should give an explanation. Yeah. I feel like.
I don't know.
Ghosted.
Right? I hate it. What's the biggest misunderstanding of marriage?
That is supposed to be easy all the time. that, that is easy all the time.
Yeah.
I don't really think about that question, but
let me say this, and I just want to see if you agree with me. Most people will not be successful in marriage.
I agree.
I think that, I guess, just to dive in a little bit deeper, I think marriage requires something that most people just haven't prepared themselves for, which a lot of people learn along the way. Mm-hmm. But I feel like
all your skeletons come out with marriage because you're with you're one. So whatever, I should quote unquote, demons you're dealing with, they now see it.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So no one really prepared for the unhealed person.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And when you get into a marriage, most people think, oh, they're healed, they're set, they're ready to go, perfect person. And same thing with the other person. Yeah. But being able to deal with a person in all seasons of their life, whether rich, poor, sick, healthy, fat, skinny, you know what I mean? Like everything, dealing with someone. Because when you make that commitment, it's saying like, no matter what, I'm not turning my back on you, no matter what. Now, there are things, that I do believe it counts for like you can't divorce this person. Sexual immortality, I believe you should, to be honest, because you're now inviting, and there goes my spiritual realm again. Soul ties are real. If you're sleeping around with other people, you're bringing other souls into your marriage, and it really should just be you two.
Right.
So that's disrupting the whole covenant between you and your wife or you and your husband, and God, if you did it under God. Especially with the generation I think our generation has a chance because we are fighters. Like we fight for what we want. And not even just we fight for what we want. We fight for what we already vowed to say, this is who I want to be with, no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah. I think that, and I think there's a large portion of, for one, a lot of people are selfish. That's the main thing. And I think people just want someone. And they often look at a relationship, a marriage, like an extended relationship. To the point, like I remember when I was dating, before I found my wife, where, you swipe on somebody, have a conversation with them, and first thing they say, they're asking all these questions, and first thing they tell you, I'm looking for marriage. Are you looking for marriage? It's like, we got to try to get married, basically, if you want to connect with me. And if you're not trying to get married, then we're not going to connect. And they almost give you this playbook of, look, this is where I'm trying to go. And if that's where you're trying to go, then come on, we can connect and then we can make it work. At least that's how I was greeted by the women. I don't know what the
women got to be smarter than that to say that. Because if a man wants to marry you, they will do it.
Right.
So you need to connect first to figure out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there's a connection there, you don't want to scare somebody and be like, hey, that's what I want. If you ain't trying to marry me, then forget about it.
Yeah, and my whole complaint, like my whole argument and the whole thing is, I don't want to marry just anybody. Like, I don't know you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and me, of course,
because they're in their head.
Probably.
They're in their head. They know. So when people are in their head, they know things about themselves. They value themselves. They think somebody else sees it. You can't see what's in their head. So they have this persona on.
Damn it, Mel.
And
you brought up another topic and we ain't got time to talk about.
And they're in their head and they're verbalizing it. What's in your mouth, what's in your head will come out in your mouth too. So they're verbalizing this to you, what they want, but they're not giving you the clear, big picture of it all. Or they're expecting you to know I'm valuable.
That right there.
How do you show it? You got to show it first.
Yes. And
I feel bad for the ladies. Ladies, please stop doing that.
You know what? And this would be like a perfect segue. All right, just a couple minutes real quick. People don't know themselves well. They don't have, what's the word I'm looking for?
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. There you go.
And identity.
That is the main thing that I'm seeing across like most of the people that I come across.
So you think they're like taking on, I feel like people are taking on other people's identities. And I will say social media and the internet and all that does contribute to that, because they're wanting to be like this person or that person. Or say, in their head, they're really not, they're like, no, I'm my own person. I'm this, I'm that. Well, who are you then? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
who are you then? Express that, show that, what makes you you.
That, and I believe, pretty sure it is, the person you think you are and the person everyone else sees you as two different people. And a lot of people that I've come across don't understand that concept of sometimes you have to stop and evaluate yourself. Like,
yes,
your opinions on matters. Like, some people would rather be in an echo chamber. That's like, these are my political views. These are my, religious or whatever views. And I only want to be around people that share those same views and champion everything, my understanding. And I'm not saying you have to put yourself around people with opposing views, but you have to have some way of looking in the mirror to evaluate, to make sure you're walking a good path. Where, like, for example, breath. Complete left analogy. But most people that have like bad halitosis don't know that their breath stinks, right? And
some of them do.
If your breath stink horrible,
for being so close to me,
you got to stop it. Know what I mean? And check your breath sometimes. And people just don't have that ability, or I won't say they don't have that ability. It's not like they're stupid. They haven't practiced it enough to where it becomes habit. And that, I believe, ties into our conversation about communication, about having healthy relationships, marriages, friendships.
And taking the time out to get to know yourself.
Stress, anxiety, mental health, depression. I feel like this like connects to everything in a way, like not necessarily fixes everything, but at least gives yourself an understanding of a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Self-awareness, right?
Right? That is all the time that we have. Melanie, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime. I got to bring you on again because there's so much that we skipped through.
I know. I felt like there was, like, because I had this whole thing in my mind, and I felt like I want to say yesterday, there was just downloads that the Lord was just putting in me, and it was about success. And he was telling me about how King Solomon, one of the richest men in the Bible, and David, so King Solomon's David's son, he's probably, in today's world, trillionaire. Like, that's how wealthy he was. And everything based around wisdom was King Solomon. Everything was about wisdom. He wrote Proverbs. And then I was thinking about Myron Golden, Carl Thomas. I was like, I had a whole plan. Everything went left. I said, I'm not even going to talk about the medical stuff. I'm going to talk about success and how I see success, and even just the parables of talents and the different parables in the Bible, how kingdom is so related to, because this went totally different than what I really had in mind. But it's like,
it's organic.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I'm definitely have to come back so I can talk about that too. But, and I think I've explained this to you about the parables of talents and how home health care is what I was working on, and how people have to use their talents or it could be taken from them.
Wait, hold up. Gotta close this out.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Play Cousins. Kalaj Dame, Melanie Dickerson. That worked.
Thank you. Absolutely.
You're welcome. All right, y'all. Check us out next week.
Welcome to Kalaj Dame. City lights, long days, heavy on the mind. Everybody talking, but they never take the time. Truth in my chest, I don't sugarcoat pain. If you sitting at the table, you gotta show your face. Conversations deeper than the surface, we've been shown. Heart and time. If you listen close, you might change your mind. We don't argue just to win debates. We just shine a light where they hide the gray. It's the Kalaj Dame Podcast, where the real don't gotta broadcast. Every truth gotta pass. Every voice got a lane. It's the Kalaj Dame Podcast. Pull a seat, let the walls crack. If you ever felt unseen, you gon' feel your name. Yeah. From the block to the boardroom, same questions asked. Why we build so fast, we never heal the past. I don't play judge, I don't play your role. I just let you talk while the story unfolds. Bridging gaps, they pretend they there. Men and women trying to meet halfway, no filter. But respect stay intact. If it hit too close,